What's up, you guys? I have created a little 30-minute yin yoga practice for the luteal phase. This is our autumn. It's a time when the veil kind of starts to thin. You might notice you feel a little bit more irritable, a little bit more frustrated. All of these emotions are beautiful signals from your body that it's time to slow down. In some cases, it's time to let go of something or someone or behaviors or patterns of thought, whatever the case may be for you. And it's also a time to rest and renew. It's a time when we start wanting to naturally slow down. Okay. Last practice we did was the winter time, which is designed specifically for the menstrual cycle, or like when you're on, that I always say my moon time, but take what you will from that. And this one is the time leading up to that phase or that part of our cycle. Okay. I do have a couple of props here. I have a couple blankets and a bolster. You might decide you would like to have the same. You might decide you'd like to grab some cushions or blankets or pillows from your couch or whatever the case may be. Again, this is a yin practice. I can't remember if I said that at the beginning of class or not, or at the beginning of this video or not. But that means it's quiet, it's reflective, and basically just it's like the dark moon. It's like the phase going into the dark moon, okay? If you have a playlist that you love listening to while you practice, I invite you to, turn that on. Otherwise, play around with silence. Ask yourself why it's so uncomfortable. This class is weaved with affirmations to help you let go, to help you establish that feeling of worthiness and deservedness because you are worthy and you are deserving, and to help you let go, as always. So I'll see you on your mat. So let's begin by just grounding onto the mat. Just notice the weight of your body making contact with the earth beneath you. I do invite you to stay upright, to stay in a seated pose. So if you need to sit on a bolster or a block or a pillow or you name it, please do. You can pause the video, get what you need, come back. And just notice, maybe wiggle a little bit. Get out any nervous energy. Shake it out of your hands. Just like the trees let go of leaves, it's okay to let go of excess energy that just isn't serving you, especially right now for a yin class, right? Once you feel settled and you feel good and you feel right in your spot, we'll just place the hands gently on the knees to further ground. Palms flip down. And we're tune into the spine first. So an elongated spine, think of the crown of the head being sort of lifted up by a string connected to the moon, your feminine essence. The chin dips down slightly toward the chest, and that will help elongate through the neck. You can roll the shoulders up to the ears and then down and away. And letting go of any tension in the face. I do encourage a nice little slight smile if you want one, but no rush or no need. No rush, no pressure. How about that? And feel free to keep the tongue soft, the jaw soft, the eyes soft, this whole forehead, third eye space soft, because you don't really need those muscles in this pose. And if you feel content, you feel good enough to close your eyes, you can. Otherwise, just keep a gentle gaze in the front. And we'll tune into the breath for just 3 rounds. So a deep breath in, really expanding through the abdomen, filling up the belly, filling up the chest. And as you exhale, draw the navel in toward the spine. The air flows out, and just noticing how the air feels as it leaves the throat, how the air feels when you breathe in, when it fills up your belly and fills up your chest. And exhaling again as it leaves the body. And one more time, deep breath in. And exhale, maybe side out. Perfect. And just allow the breath to return to its normal breathing pattern. We'll bring the left hand to rest on the heart space. The right hand or palm rests on the womb. And just opening our practice with a little affirmation slash mantra. And feel free to repeat after me or allow me to say it on your behalf. I am worthy of rest. I am worthy of release. I am worthy simply as I am. Just notice how those words feel in your body. Was there any resistance? And if there was resistance, promise yourself you will come back to that after this practice. And gently just blinking the eyes open, coming back into your space. And since we are already seated upright, now my left leg is in front, but I'm going to bring it to my side. I'm going to bring the right leg in front, and it's going to be at a 90-degree angle. So we're doing a 90-90. It's also called deer pose in yin. Your left foot can either stay flexed or you can point the toes behind you. It's going to shift how your hip bone feels. So with the foot flexed, I'm combining words, you're going to notice more of an internal rotation in your hip joint, in the hip socket. And that's okay. It's good for us to work our hips in different directions. Most of the time, we're used to what the right hip is doing right now, which is an external rotation. Okay. Finding what works for you. If there's a little bit of knee sensitivity, this is where a blanket can come in handy, or a little extra cushion underneath the leg can be helpful. Okay. I'm going to set our timer here for 3 minutes. If it goes beyond 3 minutes and you don't hear from me, then there's something wrong with your internet. But otherwise, we are going to get very quiet. This is your practice, okay? This is your time and your reflective time. I do want to just add that this particular pose is getting into the liver and the gallbladder meridian lines, okay? And the liver, it is said, is where we store a lot of anger and frustration. The gallbladder can also be tied in with that as well. Fear is another one for the gallbladder. So, so what we are going to do is give our bodies a little affirmation. And the affirmation is, I release frustration and I welcome compassion. I release frustration and I welcome compassion. You can stay upright and you can fold over the top of the right leg if that calls to you. If you are seated upright, keep the gaze soft, keep the face soft, keep your judgments soft. I release frustration and I open to compassion. So if you are folded over the right leg, I invite you to take a deep breath in with me. And as you exhale, just gently find your way up to a seated pose or upright spine. And we're going to do deer pose on the opposite side. So apparently I had a hard time spitting that one out. But let's come onto our hands real quick and just do a little windshield wiper motion with the legs. Just noticing what the body feels like. Perhaps that left leg feels a little funky, or left hip area feels a little funny. Perfect. And setting up for deer pose now on the left, well, it's the right, the opposite left side. Left foot's in front, left leg is in front, right leg is behind. You decide how you want this to feel, how you want it to look. I take that back. Strike that, reverse. You decide how it feels in your body. So if it feels good to stay upright, stay upright. If you want to fold over the top of your leg, by all means. If you want to keep your foot flexed, keep it flexed. If you want to point the toes, point the toes. The world is your oyster. And we'll just come back to our affirmation. Anytime your mind wanders, feel free to gently pull yourself back with the affirmation. I release frustration and I welcome compassion. Release frustration and I welcome compassion. If you are folded over the top of the left leg, I invite you to gently come back up to a seated position, gently opening the eyes, leaning back onto the hands again, and we'll just do this little windshield wiper motion, just feeling into the body. Perfect. Now, setting up here on hands and knees, wrists directly under shoulders, knees directly under hips. Core is active here, so the navel's drawn in toward the spine. We're going to take a deep breath in and then exhale, rock the hips forward, arch the spine, allow the head and the neck to release for your cat pose. Inhale, belly drops, collarbone spread, looking up at the sky. Exhale, round out. Feel as the scapula separate, the back arches. Inhale, find that cow pose again. And one more time. Exhale, find your cat. Inhale up, find cow. And we'll make our way back into our neutral spine. From here, we'll walk the hands out about a palm length in front, setting up for swan or sleeping swan. So let's extend out through the right leg and then gently bring the right knee up behind the right wrist. right foot up behind the left wrist. Now, here's where you might want some extra stuff. You can place a blanket, or you can even do a throw pillow underneath the right hip if that helps, or if you need it, it's an option. Otherwise, I'm going to take a deep breath in here and then exhale, either come down onto the forearms, a bolster, or you can bring the head to rest on top of your hands. You can stack the hands and rest the forehead. So this pose, also getting into the kidney, I'm sorry, also getting into the hip, we are also getting into the kidneys, the bladder, and the sacral. So the sacral chakra, but the bladder and kidney meridian lines. Additionally, with the forehead supported, we are activating our parasympathetic nervous system, our rest and digest. We're letting our body know that it's okay and it's safe to let go. Your affirmation for this particular shape is, I soften into my worthiness. I soften into my worthiness. Perfect. Let's take a deep breath in and exhale, gently come back up. Notice perhaps what this feels like in the right hip. Go ahead and tuck the toes on the left foot, and we're going to extend the right foot back to meet the left into a downward dog. You're welcome to just, come down onto the hands and knees if you want, and you can extend out through those right toes and rock back and forth. Find whatever works for you, whatever feels good to you. If you are in down dog, eventually you're going to make your way back down to your knees. And this time extend out through the left leg, bringing that left leg up to the front of the mat. I like to tuck the toes on my right foot and do what's called straightening through the tail. So that right leg is serving as sort of a tail, right? Uh, if you want to lessen the intensity of this pose, you can bring the foot in more toward that right hip crease. The further away the leg is or the foot is, the more intense you're going to feel on the left hip or whichever leg is in the front. Take a deep breath in and then exhale. We'll fold over the top of the left leg, finding the degree that feels good to you. So if it's, more like fist stacked here with the forehead rested, or coming all the way down onto the tops of the hands with the forehead rested. Your affirmation, I soften into my worthiness. I soften into my worthiness. And if you would like to link the breath with movement here, take a deep breath in with me and exhale. We'll come back up from our folded or sleeping position and tuck the toes on the right foot and send the left leg back to meet the right. Find this little down dog, or again, you can come down onto the knees and just extend out through the left foot, keeping the toes on the ground. Perfect. And if you are in down dog, we're going to find our way back into tabletop. Now, this next pose, you may decide you'd like to have a blanket underneath you. I know I do because it can be quite intense. So I'm setting up this way so you can see me. I guess I could sit this way, it's fine. But if you do, we're setting up for frog pose, by the way. So if you're curious, like, well, what are we doing? That's what we're doing. I find having a little extra cushion really helps with any knee discomfort. Obviously, if you've had like serious knee, things happen, I'll show you an alternative that you can do. But doing frog pose is really beneficial to open up through the inner thighs and really get into the womb space. Okay. You might also decide that you'd like to have a bolster or something in front of you. But basically, you're going to come onto your hands and knees and then walk the knees out pretty far, pretty much as far as they're going to go. I like to keep the toes flexed, and here we stay. So you might decide you'd like to stay on the hands, come down onto the forearms or a bolster. Okay. Alternative here, especially if if that's like too much for you, is you can always find your way into Malasana or yogi squat. You can always sit on something in that squatted position. So you do have some options there. Again, frog pose is pretty intense. So I personally like it for that reason. Just I find that it gets into the hips or into the inner thighs pretty well. So in this posture, we are we are helping the liver and gallbladder meridian lines and also getting into our sacral chakra, which is the womb space. I apologize for the lighting. This happens. The affirmation for this particular shape is, I make space for my truth. I make space for my truth. I make space for my truth. Just noticing where the mind goes, perhaps the stories that come up. Letting go with ease, with grace, making space for new possibilities. Perfect. So we're going to take a deep breath in. If you are already on your hands, great. If you're not, come up onto your hands and then slowly bring the big toes together behind you and bring the knees together. Ooh, mama. We're going to take just a little brief child's pose here. You can keep the knees together and just reach the fingertips up toward the top of the mat. Good. And let's do just a few like hip circles here just to kind of help keep the hips lubricated. Notice what it feels like. It might feel like some things shifted in there. Good. And we're going to come down onto our sits bones. Feel free to keep your blanket handy if you've got one, and you can sit on the edge of the blanket if that helps, helps you elongate through the spine. Can't get my words straight. Perfect. Shake out the knees. Maybe you want to come onto the hands and even do that windshield wiper motion. I really enjoy that with yin and just find that it like helps keep that blood flow going. And then also like, I don't know, I just feel that nice little subtle energetic shift and so saucy. Those bring the legs out straight in front. You can flex the feet, point the toes up to the sky. Take a deep breath in, reaching fingertips up. And then exhale, folding over the tops of the legs, reaching for the ankles, the calves, the feet, past the feet, if that's available to you. Obviously, I said this, I think, in our last practice. I start at 60%, and then as the body invites you in, then you go deeper and deeper into the pose. Okay. So, yes, there is some sensation along the backs of the legs, the hamstrings, and the calves. But again, we're never forcing, right? We want our bodies to enjoy the process, but also we want to listen to our bodies. This is a terrific teacher for us in how to listen to our body's subtle whispers. So the meridian lines that we are assisting in this pose are the kidneys, the bladder, and then we're also helping our spine, which is not a meridian line, but it is the major body part. It's not a joint, but one of the major body parts. So we're helping our spine kind of loosen all of the muscles that travel up the length of the spine, the lower back. This is a great pose if you have lower back issues. And then, of course, getting into the kidney and the bladder meridian lines. The bladder in particular is tied in with our creative center, our sacral chakra. And when we help any energetic blockages release, then we do it as a great service to our entire body. But we are essentially helping ourselves find healing and find wholeness and find our creativity again in some cases. So the affirmation for caterpillar is I allow myself to turn inward. I allow myself to turn inward. If you are linking your breath with movement, I invite you to take a deep breath in with me and exhale. We'll just gently roll up and find our way. Yeah, we'll find our way down into a onto our backs. My goodness, I can't speak. And just walk the soles of the feet onto the mat and scooch down a bit. I always feel so far away from you guys when I do this. There we go. And just take a moment. So a little bit of a rebound here. We've worked through quite a bit in terms of the hips, the inner thighs, the womb space in general, the legs. Kind of just tune in to how everything is feeling. Any energetic or subtle shifts that may have happened over these past few minutes. But from here, we're going to do a little kind of a different variation on the twisting pose. So bring the right ankle to rest on top of the left thigh. We're not doing thread the needle, but what we're going to do is start bringing the right knee over toward the right side of the space, and then the left leg knee is going to come down toward the earth. Now you're welcome to kind of keep the right foot pressed on top of the thigh, not the knee, the thigh. And here's where it gets a little bit more twisty. Bring the left arm out beside you, either, in a T or a goalpost arm, and just look over the left shoulder, and you'll notice there's maybe a gentle bit of a twist along the top of the hip here. Perfect. And then gently come back to center. We're going to bring the right knee in toward the chest. Left leg comes out long, and right knee over toward the left side of the space. So a little twisting pose here. Once again, getting into the kidney meridian lines and the gallbladder meridian lines. The affirmation here, I am safe to rest and receive. I am safe to rest and receive. Perfect. If you'd like to link the breath with the movement, take a deep breath in with me. And exhale, we'll gently bring the body back to center. Maybe do that windshield wiper motion. Maybe grab hold of the knees and make circles on the ceiling. A low back massage. We'll set up for the same sort of sequence. I put that in quotes on the opposite side. So left ankle rests gently on top of the right thigh, and then we'll slowly bring the left knee down toward the left. And then the right knee comes inward, and we do this little twist. So looking over the right shoulder just for a moment, just kind of getting into the top of the hip right here, a little bit of sensation, that whole like the IT band area. Good. And then slowly come back to center. This time grabbing hold of the left knee, right leg comes down onto the mat. And then we'll bring the left knee over toward the left side of the space. Looking over, I'm sorry, the right side of the space. Looking over the right shoulder. I'm sorry, looking over the left shoulder. My goodness, can you guys keep up? I was in the military. You would think I would know my left from my right, but I don't. I hope you're laughing. And a reminder on the affirmation, I am safe to rest and receive. Perfect. And we'll take a deep breath in, exhale, gently bring yourself back to center. You can hug and squeeze the knees into the chest, give yourself a little bit of love. Maybe even pick the head up, reaching forehead toward the knees, little squeeze there, and then head can come back down to the mat. Beautiful. From here, bringing the soles of the feet onto the mat and then bringing the soles of the feet together, allowing the knees to splay out for a reclined butterfly. You're welcome to stay like so, or you can place something behind the knees if you need some assistance. This is just a little variation on Shavasana for today. I invite you to place like we did at the beginning of our practice, placing your left hand on the heart, the right hand on the womb, feeling the weight of the body connected with the earth beneath you. Softening through the forehead, the jaw, the tongue, and anywhere else that you might be noticing areas of tension. And just taking some deep breaths in and out. And you're welcome to stay in this pose for as long as you need, or extend the legs out and find, more quote unquote traditional Shavasana. Otherwise, if you are ready to start making your way to a seated posture, I invite you to just gently bring the legs closed like you're closing a book, closing a chapter. Little side to side motion with the knees here. And we'll roll over onto our right side. And using the left hand, just gently place it in front of you and press into the floor, the mat beneath you. The head and the neck are the last things to come up. So we want to always come up very slowly and gently, especially after yin, when we have calmed our nervous system. The last thing we want to do is, give ourselves a little adrenaline rush by just shooting straight up. All right, so we're going to find our way back into our seated pose. If you are still in your Shavasana, stay in your Shavasana. I'm closing our practice with a final blessing for you. So let's bring the hands together in heart space, to the heart space. Thumbs connected with the sternum. Chin dips down slightly toward the chest. Eyes closed. May you carry this truth. Your worth is not earned. It is inherent. Like the trees in autumn, you are beautiful in your release. You are powerful in your rest. As you move into these next days of your cycle, may you honor your boundaries, trust your body's wisdom, and remember, you are a goddess, whole and complete in every phase. And we'll bow to our womb and our heart by dipping the chin down toward the chest. Thank you so much for trusting me with your journey today. May the benefits of this practice stay with you long after today is over. Namaste.